And we're live on Postgame Live on channel BSR. It is May 13th, and just an absolutely. This is the way I remember doing these postgame shows last year. Is sort of after heartbreaking losses. Orioles fall 4-1 to the Tigers in the second game of the series, and Jake is toughing it out, joining me from the car on his way back from Camden Yards. How are you feeling, Jake?
Zach, if it wasn't this, I would be sobbing quietly to myself.
Well, I'm happy that you're here instead of doing that, and hopefully we can help you get through this difficult time. I'm sure it was tough being there at the stadium. You were at the Section 336 night at the Yards. How did that go?
It was great. A lot of people there. Very excited crowd there in Section 336. It was a good time.
Up until the ninth inning, of course. So just a absolute heartbreaker. So I guess we'll start there. There's a lot of different things I want to get into in this game, and things that I think people will forget about. Caleb Joseph's performance, Ubaldo Jimenez's start, and continued dominance in May so far. But I think the thing everybody's going to talk about is Tommy Hunter coming in, blowing the save, his third blown save of the year. He goes 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, gives up the back-to-back homers, Miguel Cabrera, to take the lead, the 3-run bomb in the ninth. And then the cherry on top was Victor Martinez. What was the feeling like? I guess we'll start here. The feeling at the stadium when Tommy came in. I mean, I was pretty nervous watching on TV. Was the stadium kind of feeling that nervous energy as well?
It was nervous excitement, but I will say that they were also pretty supportive. So, there's a lot of applause. There was a lot of encouragement, but you could tell people were all on edge.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just sort of, from watching on TV, it sort of seemed like the crowd was on edge as well. So Hunter comes in, relieves Darren O'Day, gives up the single to Avila. Raja.
Can we talk about that single for just a second?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't excuse what happened in the ninth inning in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want to make it sound, even for a second, like that's what's about to come out of my mouth. But how frustrating is it to have a pitcher get a ground ball, and have it trickle right to the spot where you can't defend it in the shift?
Yep, it's incredibly frustrating. And batting average on balls in play for Tommy Hunter. I mean, Tommy Hunter struggled in every category, but I feel like batting average on balls in play is particularly high, especially against lefties who have really crushed him so far this year and his whole career. So the single, Avila's single, was really frustrating. Then you got Davis on the bases, who stole second. You got the instant replay. Was this your first time at the stadium for the instant replay? I guess it's not technically a challenge there in the ninth inning, but was this your first experience of the game being paused for an instant replay? Oh, I think we lost Jake. Yep, we did lose Jake. So I don't know if it was his first experience doing the instant replay thing. We'll try to get him back here. He's in the car, headed back from the game. But you look at this at Davis stealing second, and I've got some tweets from people after the game who said that they were at the game and they showed the replays in the stadium on the jumbotron, and that they don't know how in the world the umpires overturned that call. If you're watching on TV, like most of us were, that are in the chat room, it was pretty clear. I mean, the umpire missed the call. Davis successfully stole second, and of course they overturned it. And that was a huge play, and one that I think it was CJ Nikowski who tweeted, pre-instant replay, the Orioles win this game because Davis is out, and then the 2 more outs are recorded before Miguel Cabrera hits that 3-run homer. So that's a big difference between this year and in years past with instant replay. So incredibly difficult to stomach that. And Buck Showalter was absolutely furious. There's some great GIFs. Josh is saying at the stadium it did look inconclusive. Yeah, he was definitely safe. It was tough. It was tough to watch. I wonder how Josh was doing with the Section 336 night at the Yard. It sounded like it was a pretty good time. But man, just a tough one to stomach watching Tommy Hunter blow the save. So instant replay, that one's a totally different game. I think I got Jake back. Hey, Jake.
Sorry about that.
No worries. You're in the car. It's amazing you're here at all. So appreciate it. So I was saying instant replay. CJ Nikowski tweeted, pre-instant replay, if this were last year, the Orioles win that game because there's no instant replay on that call. Davis is out at second, and there's 3 outs in the inning. Miguel Cabrera, we never even see Miguel Cabrera in this inning. So tough one to stomach knowing the rule change. And I don't know if you saw Buck Showalter, but he was furious with that call. Pretty good GIF out there off the post on BSR.
Well, I got to tell you, from the third deck, it looked like it was out.
Yeah, and I got some tweets from people saying the replays at the stadium looked like it was inconclusive. If you're watching on TV, it definitely looked he looked safe. So the right call ended up being made. It's just tough knowing that that's the way. That's kind of what it came down to. Can't blame that on the loss for sure, or for the Tigers winning, but. I guess we'll start like we do each one of these shows with our highlight and low light, and pretty easy to get the latter here. My highlight, though, I was really excited to see Caleb Joseph not only get his first hit, but gunning out Torrey Hunter at third base in the 7th was incredibly enjoyable. What did you think of watching Caleb Joseph's performance this evening?
Oh, it was outstanding. It was nice to see him finally get that first hit. It's something that, I for one, have been watching. It was one of my lowlights for one of these previous shows that we didn't get to see his first hit. But, I think so many fans have had such low expectations for Caleb Joseph being a backup catcher to the backup catcher that, whatever we can get out of it is definitely a plus.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm wondering, all week, I guess starting last week, we kind of heard the Orioles are in the market for a backup catcher, and that, to me, I don't know if they're looking to throw a guy in front of Steve Clevenger, make Clevenger the backup while Wieters is on the disabled list, or if they're looking for a guy to replace Caleb Joseph. But I know it's one game. I don't know if that changes what the Orioles think of Joseph's defensive play, but I was particularly impressed with what I saw on defense. I'm not sure what they're going to get from him offensively, but that's sort of fine with backup catcher. But I'm wondering if that changes with Tommy Hunter's struggles a little bit here, because the Orioles are going to have to part with probably a bullpen arm. I know a lot of people have said Zach Britton, which I'm just not excited about for backup catcher. So, I mean, do you think that Hunter's struggles may kind of put that desire for a backup catcher on the back burner?
No, I don't think the two are related. I think that if the Orioles are going to get a backup catcher, it's going to be somebody that is not going to wow anybody. It's not going to wow the fans, certainly. And so I don't think it's going to cost premier talent like a Zach Britton. I don't think that Dan Duquette will part with Zach Britton for a backup catcher.
And so I guess getting back to the highlights and lowlights, because I've totally trailed off. What was your positive takeaway as you're driving back from Camden Yards?
Well, the positive for me was seeing Ubaldo Jimenez, and Ubaldo Jimenez got out of the first inning with 15 pitches, and I thought that was huge because not only has Jimenez had his struggles, he's also had early struggles, and you seem to know right away which guy you're going to get. And I thought that his first inning was really strong one, and it was nice to see us get the good Ubaldo Jimenez.
The May Ubaldo, yeah. Despite falling behind the first guy early, we got to see good Ubaldo, which I was excited about. How about? I mean, is it too easy to say Tommy Hunter's performance was the low light? Do we have anything else? I mean, I could look at the offense.
I've got 8 innings worth of lowlights. The Orioles have scored 2 runs in the last 2 games, and I know that Tommy Hunter blew a save, and I know that the Orioles could have won tonight. But the Orioles' offense has put the pitching staff in a position that they have to be perfect, and this is an imperfect pitching staff, especially an imperfect bullpen, and you can't do that, and you simply can't do that, especially when the Orioles had the bases loaded today. It's just no. My low light definitely goes to the offense.
Yeah, that's what I had here in our rundown before Tommy Hunter came in, was the offense, and even during the winning streak. I mean, I got to be honest. I don't mean to be total negative Nancy here, but even during the winning streak, it just felt like, how are they doing this? They're scored 3.8 runs a game and winning 5 of 6. It's just that's not going to last, especially with the pitching staff. I mean, it was pretty amazing that they were able to do that with the little offense that they had. So I'm more discouraged by that than I am Tommy Hunter. I understand the closer thing is a big concern for sure. And it sounds like, Buck Showalter was pretty indecisive about what he's going to do after the game. I mean, we can talk about options, but to me, the offense has got to get going. Saw Adam Jones hit his 5th home run of the year in the first inning. I was thinking, man, we're off to a fantastic start. He hit a deep fly ball in the bottom of the 5th that I thought was going out. Looked almost exactly the same as the one in the first. What did you think of Jones' performance at the dish?
Yeah, Jones was good tonight. I'll get back to his defense in a second, but first of all, that ball he hit out was gone instantly. I mean, it was a laser. The only question was whether it was going to be fair or foul. He just smoked the ball. And I agree. I thought that second ball was going to go out when I saw it. He's starting to lock in, which is nice. The other thing is that he's not chasing that crazy low and away breaking ball, which is something I've noticed over the past, I would say, 3 or 4 games. And a locked-in Adam Jones is exactly what this team needs, especially when everybody else seems to have forgotten their bat. Yeah,
no doubt. And it's interesting, he is staying away from that breaking ball, and I see a lot of people talk about, I've written about this in the past, both on BSR and in my guest pieces on Masson, about how if Adam Jones could just lay off a few more pitches, he could be such a better, more well-rounded hitter. I mean, this is a guy who had 30 home runs last year. So to give him, I want to see him stay away from that low and away breaking ball as well. But to say that you want to see him swing less overall, I got news for you. If you look at the pitch effects, the ball that he hit out in the first inning was not in the strike zone. So if you want him to take that pitch, just keep in mind that the Orioles aren't even in this game at all because they don't score any runs. So Adam Jones, exactly. Yep, exactly, and that's a big part of his game. So
he looked pretty good in center today too. He had a couple of balls where he had to make key adjustments because of either how it looked coming off the bat or the conditions, because it got kind of breezy towards the end of the game. But I saw him, take a quick step to the outside and then have to rush in. And he showed really good range tonight, which is something that I kind of made a mental note of.
Yeah, definitely. I think some of the warmer nights in Baltimore, the past couple nights, we've seen, some defenders take kind of some different routes. I feel like the ball's kind of flying. We're already seeing with the temperature difference, the ball kind of flying a little bit differently in Camden Yards already. So. And unfortunately, we saw that there in the 9th. Which, by the way, I don't know how you saw it from section 336, but David Lowe looked really, really close to making a play on Cabrera's ball.
We weren't sure until we saw it bounce that he hadn't caught it.
Yeah, really close. So to wrap up our offensive discussion, I mean, J.J. Hardy's continued to struggle. He went 0 for 4 this evening. Put the ball in play 4 times. He didn't strike out, but went 0 for 4. He's down to 255 with a 274 OBP. We saw an 0 for 4 from Chris Davis, who looks to be slow on some pitches, 2 strikeouts. He's gonna strike out as a power hitter. Nick Barkakis, who had the hitting streak going, he went 0 for 4, 2 Ks at the top of that lineup, and he's hitless in back-to-back games now. Nelson Cruz had the double. He went 1 for 3, walked once and struck out once. So just need some more from those guys. It's pretty frustrating that they can all hit at once and then all not hit at once. It's an all or nothing lineup. Mention the defense. Caleb Joseph gunning out Torrey Hunter at third. I thought was a huge play when the Orioles were winning this game. And then that inning was followed. The Tigers had 2 on and nobody out in the 7th. Ubaldo Jimenez managed to get out of that with 3 guys coming to the plate. Were you sweating that one out in the 7th inning?
Oh, absolutely. And especially with such a thin margin of error since the bats had gone quiet, you were just kind of waiting for that inning where things were going to fall apart.
Yeah, and I thought that was going to be it too. A great double play started by Jonathan Scope, and I've been critical of Jonathan Scope, but I think his defense has really improved since the beginning of the year, especially at second base. I mean, third base clearly wasn't for him; his reaction time was slow. But I've been impressed with what I've seen from Scope at second.
Well, yeah, second base is where he's been playing in the minors because we didn't have a second baseman to speak of. He was, the great hope in the minors at that position, and I think that now that he's getting regular reps there, he knows where he's going to be. He's not worried about, well, I got to play second this day and third the next day and that kind of thing. I think that we're going to see the good Jonathan Scope defensive games. He's not going to win any Gold Gloves, but I do think he's absolutely solid at second.
Yeah, Yeah, it's been encouraging. 1 for 3 tonight with a walk as well. So not killing him at the plate. At least this evening, he's hitting 232, but at least
Well, I
getting
think
on
the
base.
real story with him is that Buck Showalter didn't lift him for Ryan Flaherty, the lefty, going against Nathan in the ninth inning.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. Josh is asking in the chat room, should Tommy Hunter have walked Miguel Cabrera after walking Torrey Hunter? Um, I don't know. Yeah, it could have hit him. That's right. Yeah. I don't. Man, that's tough. It's easy to say yeah now. I would preferred him not throw a breaking pitch that hung right in the middle of the plate rather than pitching around Cabrera. I would have preferred that. I would have preferred him not walking Torrey Hunter personally because I think he could have won that matchup. And it looked like a little bit of miscommunication there with him and Caleb Joseph. I'd be curious to see if we get any more comments about that with Joseph coming out and having the mound meeting, and pretty much immediately after that, the bomb is given up. So it's a
Well,
tough
I
one.
tell you, I think it's kind of a moot point as to whether or not you walk Cabrera since he gave a home run up to the next guy as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Good pitching. Ubaldo Jimenez was back. 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. You mentioned it off the top. In April, a 6.59 ERA. In May, 0.46. Why? I mean, is there any reason why he's? I'm not complaining, but what is causing this phenomenon?
I think it's all in his head. It really is. I mean, he said, I'm not good in April, and because he says that, it is so.
Well, I'm glad he's good in May. He's looked he's finally starting to earn that $50 million. Looked fantastic this evening. Felt very confident.
You're hearing a lot less about his $50 million contract now, right?
You are. It's amazing how that starts to go away when the guy goes 7 shutout innings. So, other pitching news today, not related to the game, but Dylan Bundy tweeted that he faced hitting for the first time since undergoing Tommy John surgery. So that's a positive step in the right direction, and I guess that'll lead us right into
summer.
What's that? Hopefully this summer. Yeah.
There may be openings later in the summer. Opportunities will be available.
There definitely may be, and I know some people have already thrown out the with Kevin Gossman coming up. Should Kevin Gossman be pitching in the 9th inning? And I'm not a big fan of that. And I know Adam Wainwright did that with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals do everything right, and I love the Cardinals and their organization and everything. But it's time for Gossman to start in the big leagues, I think. So the Orioles have other options. They may not be the best options, but the Orioles do have other options, and I'm excited to see Gossman in the rotation. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it can't be any worse than what we've seen, right? I mean, the other thing is that we've been promised, prospect after prospect after prospect, and eventually one of these guys has to hit. And I'm really hoping that it's going to be Gausman. So, I'm cautiously optimistic that Gausman will bring something to the majors, and maybe we'll see the start of that this week.
Yeah, I'm excited. Throwing him right in the fire too, facing Justin Verlander. Yeah, just a Cy Young Award winner MVP, no problem. So
hey, can I toss one more pitching note out there?
Yeah, please.
Gilmet, who pitched in the 9th inning to clean up Tommy Hunter's mess.
Yeah.
Did he look as good on television as he did in the stadium?
I've been impressed with what I've seen from him. Yeah, I think he did look that impressive, and I don't know if it's because I was not impressed with what I saw earlier, but yeah, I have been impressed with him. Now, I should mention that I just saw on Twitter that it hasn't been officially announced, but he has told his teammates that he is being sent back to AAA. So no matter how impressive he's been, it looks like he's going to be sent down to make room for Kevin Gossman. So
wow, that's a shame because I've been really impressed with him. I thought that breaking ball was just devastating. And again, the game got away, and they brought him up, I guess, for mop-up duty, but he got him out.
Yeah, he looks good, and he's a guy. I mean, not at the big league level, but in the minors with closer experience. So maybe a guy that could be in that role down the road, but not now apparently. I guess we can kind of wrap up our bottom line takeaway. Everybody's going to be talking about Tommy Hunter today, tomorrow, until another save happens, whether he goes back out there or whether it's somebody different. But in watching this team last year and seeing the blown saves from Jim Johnson, I just hope that this team has learned that they should not stick with a guy who's struggling, no matter what his name is. They should not stick with a guy in that role, and let him work it out in the ninth inning. And it's nothing against Tommy Hunter, but he's struggling right now, and the Orioles just can't afford to lose more games like this, like they did last year. Do you agree with that philosophy? Do you think we'll see closer by committee or somebody else moved into that role, or do you think Buck's going to stay loyal to his guy and keep running Tommy out there?
Well, I hope they go to closer by committee, because I think everybody can agree at this point that having a closer is stupid. Having a designated closer is just not a winning strategy. It's just so ridiculous, because you go through matchups the rest of the game. Why do you treat the ninth inning any different? And more importantly, if you've got your best reliever in the bullpen slotted for the ninth inning, the key situation in any game might be in the sixth inning with the bases loaded, and you're not bringing in your best weapon because you're leading him for the ninth inning, which might be meaningless at that point. I think if we really want to win and not amass saves, we've got to do away with the dedicated closer. Buck has been reluctant to do that, and Buck is to a fault loyal to his guys. I hope that this is the key for Buck Showalter to take the bullet and say, you know what, I'm going to change my philosophy. We're going to go to closer by committee, so that he doesn't have to then turn on one of his players and say, no, we're going to demote Tommy Hunter from the closer role and move on.
Right. Yeah, I hope so. And I just, so many games, so many close games were blown due to loyalty that I thought was unnecessary last year, and I just hope that's not the case this year. I mean, winning games should be most important, so hopefully they'll prioritize that over loyalty and maintaining that relationship. And like you said, I think they can go about doing it without making it awkward and bad. It's not as though Tommy Hunter doesn't know he's struggling. So. Well, Jake, I think that's going to wrap it up. A depressing edition of Postgame Live on Channel BSR. Thanks for jumping on, driving back with us. Hopefully we helped you work through some of these problems. I know tomorrow, until they play again, it's going to be sticking with me. So I know tomorrow will be.
That's the worst. The best thing about baseball is that you get another chance the next day.
Absolutely. And hey, Kevin Gossman's pitching, so at least we got something to look forward to.
Right, 12:35 start. So everybody who's able to tune in at work, it might be a little less of a mundane day for you.
Yeah, no doubt. Gotta love the day games, man. Well, I know you got a brand new episode of Bird's Eye View. I saw everybody was raving about on Twitter. So can you give us a little plug if somebody hasn't checked it out yet?
Sure. We had a very special edition of Bird's Eye View this weekend. First, available on iTunes, which is always fun.
Yes, good.
But we had some new voices join us on the mics this week, and a little bit of commentary up at the top for our eventful week.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's a good teaser. So if you haven't checked it out, listen to it now. Subscribe on iTunes and give those guys a nice 5-star rating because they absolutely deserve it. So, new BSR podcast is out as well. Be sure to check that out on BaltimoreSportsReport.com. For Jake, I'm Zach. Thanks so much for tuning in to Postgame Live on Channel BSR. See you guys on Thursday.